It's 2021, about 13.7 billion years from the start of our known universe. Or so we believe. We're on the planet Earth, which is one of the many planets of a solar system, which is a tiny part of what we call the Milky Way galaxy, which is one of the many galaxies in our universe. To be honest, we are quite insignificant. We're also on the path of destroying the only home we know of. Pollution and global warming are almost out of control. Icebergs and glaciers are melting, water level rising, ozone layer depleting, and a nuclear war waiting to happen. And oh, yeah, a virus, which is a microorganism about 50 to 200 nanometers in diameter, has been killing humans for the past 1 year. Yikes. So, it is safe to assume that we will soon have to move out and find a new home if we wish to continue existing. I am assuming this video somehow survived another 100,000 years and someone on a different planet decided to watch it.
Well, hello there, my dear future generation. While it's great to evolve and move on with your lives, it becomes equally important to know how you reached to where you are today. History generally gets lost in the track of time. But with the amount of technology and innovation that we have today, this is our attempt to preserve to you and present to you the history of astronomy. Let's get started. Can you believe that humanity is almost 200,000 years old? Our early ancestors used to believe that the Milky Way galaxy was in some way the bridge between the living and the dead. Wholesome, right? These were the same ancestors who started observing patterns in the night sky. They started mapping these patterns. This is what led to them building the pyramids and the Stonehenge. The ancient Babylonians, for example, made the concept of an year, divided an year into 360 days, divided a day into 24 hours, an hour into 60 minutes, and so on.
In around the 3rd century BCE, Plato realized that the earth is round. A few years later, Aristotle, observing the eclipses and positions of stars, believed it to be spherical. However, since all objects fall towards earth, he concluded that it must be the center of the universe. Aristarchus of Samos was way ahead of his time, and by observing the change in positions of Mercury and Venus compared with Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, he concluded that the sun should be the center of the universe. But humans like being the center of attention, the center of the universe, and stuck to Aristotle's beliefs. Soon, Ptolemy's geocentric model, with Earth at the center and Sun between Venus and Mars, came. A lot of the ancient knowledge and records were kept in the Library of Alexandria, which was accidentally burned down by Julius Caesar, putting us several thousand years behind. After the decline of Greek and Roman civilizations, a period that we call the Dark Ages started, and astronomy in Europe turned to astrology because of the rule of George. Asians, however, were now rising the saddle. New instruments were built and Chinese government established an entire department for astronomy. In the 10th century AD, Al-Khujandi calculated the tilt of Earth relative to the Sun. Omar Khayyam calculated the year to be 365.242 days. Indian astronomer Bhaskar proposed the heliocentric model and also mentioned the law of gravity. It is believed that his work influenced Copernicus.
Nicholas Copernicus proved beyond doubt that the earth revolves around the sun. But fearing the church, he did not publish his work until he was on his deathbed. Johannes Kepler gave us 3 laws relating the motion of celestial objects around the sun. Galileo built more powerful telescopes to observe the night sky. He also published the dialogue on the two chief worlds, contradicting the church's belief on the geocentric model, for which he was put on house arrest for the rest of his life. The church finally accepted Galileo's ideas in 1993. Moving on to Sir Isaac Newton, probably the most important physicist to ever live. He discovered the laws of gravity, gave us the laws of motion, developed theory on infinitesimal calculus, invented the reflecting telescope, etc., etc. His principles led us to develop many more laws in physics. Then came the Herschels, the family of astronomers, starting with Frederick William Herschel, who discovered Uranus and realized that starlight takes time to reach Earth, and that when we look at stars, we're actually looking in the past. His sister Caroline Herschel was the first notable female astronomer. She helped her brother and compiled star charts and even discovered several comets. William's son, John Herschel, catalogued 5,075 double stars and even made observations from the southern hemisphere.
By the end of the 19th century, physicists assumed that they discovered everything there was to discover. The world was ruled by the laws of Newton. But one patent clerk from Bern was soon to revolutionize every single aspect of how we thought about this world. Now, of course, we know that if you stand on the shoulders of giants, you can see farther. But this patent clerk, Albert Einstein, saw farther than anyone could ever even imagine in their wildest dreams. Albert Einstein wrote 4 papers in 1905 revising the concept of relativity as introduced by Galileo. His papers on the special theory of relativity introduced space-time, and it boldly defied the Newtonian mechanics, saying absolute time is nonsense. And slowly, in 1915, he introduced the concept of the general theory of relativity, introducing acceleration into his calculations. Now, during that time, even I wouldn't believe if someone just came up to me and said, light can be bent by anything which is heavy enough and has enough gravity to be bent. Now that's just nonsense, but this was actually proved by Arthur Stanley Eddington in 1919 during a solar eclipse. So general relativity checks out. Albert Einstein's genius.
Let's talk about Carl Schwarzschild now and realize how science can develop and how geniuses can contribute in the harshest of conditions. Einstein sent his work on general theory of relativity to Schwarzschild to review it. And our hero developed the solutions to the general relativity field equations amidst World War II, and that too in a trench. This is the same man who has first theorized black holes from Einstein's equations. But we'll come back to that in a while. The Second World War marked the birth of modern day astronomy. Gone were the days when our vision was the best agent in astronomy. Light is now an electromagnetic wave. It does not only contain 7 shades of visible colors. It also includes waves of various frequencies and temperatures, creating new departments of research and exploration in astronomy. X-ray astronomy, radio astronomy, gamma rays, and more. With the help of the full spectrum, scientists can now see farther into the depths of the cosmos than ever before. Moving on, we all know ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Well, for the first time, an ICBM was launched into space, not with the hostile intention of war, but to put a satellite into orbit. This was Russia in 1957, and Sputnik marked the beginning of the space race. The race between the then two most advanced spacefaring nations, Russia and the United States. This race, though fueled by a sense of competition, helped innovate in various fields. Solar cells, LASIK, wireless headsets, CAT scans, air purifiers, the computer mouse, artificial limbs. The list could go on. So when someone asks you all as to how a man on the moon could possibly help us, you know now. You also know that America won the space race when Old Man Neil stepped onto the moon in July 1969. One giant leap for mankind indeed.
The late 20th century was an exciting time for astronomy. During the same time, Bell Labs' Holmdel horn antenna in New Jersey picked up an odd buzzing sound that came from all parts of the sky at all times. The noise puzzled the two amateur astronomers, Wilson and Penzias, who did their best to eliminate all possible sources of interference, even removing some nesting pigeons on the antenna. On May 20th, 1964, those two radio astronomers discovered the cosmic microwave background radiation, the ancient light that began saturating the universe 380,000 years after its creation. They did that pretty much by accident and luck, of course. This discovery helped the field of astronomy move forward by leaps and bounds. Around the same time, Professor Stephen Hawking rose to fame with his work on Hawking radiation and black holes. His book, The Brief History of Time, is the most discussed and read science nonfiction work till date.
Aliens, black holes, extraterrestrial space wars are now scripts of blockbuster science movies. With the help of movies like Star Wars and Star Trek, the genre of sci fi itself emerged. Astronomy has never been more accessible to the general audience. And now there's the documentary Cosmos by Carl Sagan. Now everyone could appreciate the beauty of our place in the multiverse. Now, on the other hand, NASA started sending probes to Mars and its neighbors. The Voyager missions are easily the milestone in any career of a NASA scientist in the 1970s. Voyager 2 became the first man made object ever to go out of our solar system. And then we have the Hubble Space Telescope by NASA, which is till date the best source of astronomical images. And if we move forward, after a failed attempt of NASA in building a Skylab, the whole world came together to build the International Space Station, which is a huge success. Enter 21st century. For astronomers, the 21st century meant accessibility. With almost all kinds of observation techniques at your disposal, you could hunt for supernovae sitting right at your home. Now, on the other hand, a new millennium meant NASA isn't the only organization sending rockets to space anymore. Private organizations started taking over these space organizations and they started launching rockets into space. Thanks to a particular individual, rockets are reusable now, and there's a mannequin driving a Tesla somewhere right now in space.
It's high time we humans have to collectively realize that each affects the other, and the other affects the next. And the world is full of struggles, but the struggles are all one. If this video made to you, be proud that we realized it. All of the human wisdom is summed up in two words: wait and hope. You gotta wait for the knowledge, and that knowledge has to come from observing the universe. So, all the best to our grand. I don't know how many times I have to say that. Children. Keep looking up and enjoy your life. After all, tomorrow is another day.